What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. I'm sure some of you guys are already going to be messaging me down in the comments or on Twitter about sales figures that have come out in Japan. I would assume by now, since you're seeing this. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow, so make sure you come by tomorrow. We're going to break down the Media Create sales charts and everything, because we'll have Octopath and Captain Toad on there as well. And I think Captain Toad might surprise some people with its sales figures. We're going to go over all of that tomorrow, so don't worry, that's tomorrow. Today we have some stuff to get into, including Ubisoft actually telling us about their Q1 financials and another game they announced for the Switch, kind of. It was almost like they just put it out there on a slip of paper and everyone read it and saw it. We're going to go over that. No Man's Sky's new update is coming out, and we kind of have to go over if it's going to do well just because of the idea around the entire series with what happened when it came out. First, though, let's get into some of the smaller news from yesterday. We did see a bunch of physical releases, or at least announcements of physical releases for smaller indie titles. Kind of how we see things like limited run games, for example. Well, in this case, Wood over on Beat 'em Ups announced 9 different games, one of which was not even announced at all yet. It's a brand new announcement from him, so make sure you check out his video if you want a good rundown of each one. There'll be a link down in the description for you guys to check it out there. But really, all the games they talked about were things like Mutant Mudds Collection. That's one that we've actually talked about here on the channel, which is an awesome game. And check it out. Worms, WMD, Knights of Pen and Paper 1 and then 2. 2 was the big announcement. That's the one that was brand new. The Faerun Collection, and then there are a few others as well. But I would go check out his video. It's just cool to see more games showing up. And this is from Super Rare Games, where they're going to sell everything on their site. I do know at this time Mutant Mudds Collection, which was one of the ones that I saw that was pretty cool to see that, and Worms, the two that I'm kind of looking at now. Mutant Mudds is actually coming out in August with its physical copy, so always fun to see new games to collect for the Switch or anything else. I've actually been on kind of a Vita kick recently. I've been trying to collect for that. It's really hard to collect for right now, though, but cool to see this stuff. It seems like the Switch is getting a lot of physical smaller indie games coming out. So it's really cool to see indie game developers just in general succeed, because you know it's a big deal when they put their game out and it's physical, because I can tell you now, after seeing how some of them have kind of reacted to it, it's a pretty big deal to get your game that you worked super hard on. It's a smaller studio and everything, actually see it on store shelves, or just in general see it physical. It's pretty cool. We also heard about a new update coming to Hollow Knight, which, by the way, if you have not picked up Hollow Knight on the Switch or the PC, I don't know what you're doing. You got to pick that up. For 15 bucks, that is a steal at $15. An awesome Metroidvania style game. I absolutely love it. I have it on PC, I have it on the Switch. Great game, and they keep putting out free updates. This next one, according to them, is going to be the biggest one yet, and I think it's also going to be the last one, to be honest, for this game as well. But again, for 15 bucks, can't beat it. This DLC is called the Gods and Glory DLC for Hollow Knight. It's set to release in August 23rd. Now you might be wondering what's in it, what comes with it and everything. Well, it's a surprising amount of content according to them, and without ruining too much, they said a whole bunch of new bosses, a slew of new music, new NPCs, new quests, and it just looks like it's just more Hollow Knight. So if you like Hollow Knight now, or you were thinking about picking it up, just know it seems like more content's coming. Just this appears to be the last one, but with what it has now, already worth the 15 bucks. Now they're adding more stuff, so absolutely jump on it now. It's completely worth your time. Also, if you didn't think Fortnite was unstoppable yet, well, you're about to think that now, because it's insane how much money this game makes without any initial purchase price. I think that really helps them, because having to buy in, of course, limits your user base, your customer base, whereas they get the game for free, and then you can decide if you want to buy the Battle Pass or of course, any of the microtransaction stuff they have added in, but it doesn't affect the gameplay, and it doesn't really force you to have to do it. You can just play the game just straight up if you want for free. Well, it looks like Fortnite has now made over $1 billion, that's right with a B, billion dollars. They've joined the 3 Comma Club. If you know where that's from, good. That's a good reference to get. But they've joined the 3 Comma Club with Fortnite now, with $1 billion, all from in-game purchases. And I don't know if it's really slowing down. Fortnite just seems to continue to pick up momentum, which a lot of that has to be from them putting it on everything they can. Cell phones, the Switch, the PS4, Xbox One, PC. I don't really know what else they can put it on, but if they can, they'll figure out how to put it on like your refrigerator that has, you know, the built-in like processor and everything. They'll figure out how to put it on, I guess, Alexa and everything, the Amazon Alexa, like they did for Skyrim. That, of course, is a joke, but but you get what I'm saying. They're trying to put it on everything they can, so I don't really see this train slowing down anytime soon. Now, with all that stuff out of the way, guys, let's start with No Man's Sky next. Now, No Man's Sky, of course, came out back in 2016 on the PC and the PS4, and it was hit immediately with pushback. It was bad. The backlash was really bad, and a lot of it had to do with them promising a lot of things and then not delivering on release day. If you remember, someone got a copy of the game like days and days before it was supposed to come out, and they put everything out there, and it did not look like the game that was promised. Remember, they told us that the universe is so big, you're just never going to find each other. So there's multiplayer, kind of, but you're never going to find each other. People found each other in the first day and realized that there's no actual multiplayer in this game. Well, that's weird. So yes, a ton of backlash, and people were not happy. And really, that backlash has technically lasted until this very day, with people's image of this game and Hello Games and everything completely skewed. And it just hasn't been good for them. But they've at least been trying to make things up by doing a big free update now. They've been updating the game as they've gone along. I don't think a lot of people really noticed because they kind of checked out. But now moving over to the Xbox One as well, they're kind of doing this big relaunch, and they're doing their update called No Man's Sky Next. They put out a full trailer. A lot of details came out, and it looks like they're going to start with true multiplayer. So it's not like the fake multiplayer or anything. True multiplayer. The base building that they have been adding is going to have a ton of content added, which are going to be new components, and they're going to add the ability of being able to build anywhere on the planet, not just predetermined spots. Big visual overhaul. It's going to take place, and there's also going to be the ability to play in a third person, as you're kind of seeing in the trailer. You'll be able to customize your character and everything, and this is launching for free on the PC and the PS4 July 24th, with the Xbox One version going on sale same day, $49.99, and I do think that is a bit high. Honestly, I do think they should have released on the Xbox One for like $30. Just the way this, they're not going to put it out for free, obviously, but the game has, it has not been good with this game, with gamers, and they have a lot to make up for, as they've been trying to do with their updates. And I have to at least say, if you have it on the PC, if you have it on the PS4, it's probably worth booting it back up and just seeing if this update fulfills a lot of the stuff that you wanted at launch. Honestly, looking at this is all the stuff that they should have had on release day. They shouldn't have needed to do any of these updates. I don't know all the background details and stuff. A lot of us probably will never know all the background details and everything. But yeah, they shouldn't have launched in the form that it was when it came out. It shouldn't have happened, and it looks like this is the complete game. It just appears to be coming about 2 years too late. So while I think they are forever going to be cursed by the No Man's Sky name, I don't think they could have changed it to anything else. I think they have to stick with it, and maybe down the road Hello Games can do another game that they actually complete and put out on release day, rather than kind of drip feed content to try to fix it. Next up, let's talk about Ubisoft and their Q1 financials. Not only did they tell us about all their financials and everything, they also gave us a bit of a roadmap going forward, which inadvertently, I guess, or maybe there's like, it's out there, told us about DLC coming up for the newer South Park game, Fractured But Whole. And then they also told us about the first South Park game, Stick of Truth, which actually came out in 2014 after the Xbox One and the PS4 was already out. And it's because it was delayed so much, seriously. And then eventually it came to the newer systems, if you remember, through a pre-order bonus. Then eventually they launched it like straight up. Well, it looks like Stick of Truth is coming to the Switch as well, sometime before September, because it didn't really give us a date, but it is on their paperwork and everything they put out, as you're seeing here. And yes, it's good to see that actually show up, but I feel like we just watched other systems get it for free, and now they're selling it on the Switch. Technically, they're selling it to the other systems as well. It's just, I feel like there should have been something here with this game where they gave it to people who bought it. The Fractured But Whole, just give it to them, or I don't know. Look, they're going to sell it. It shouldn't be more than $20. And I did like the Stick of Truth a lot. It plays completely different than the newer one, which has kind of that real-time strategy kind of feel to it, where you're kind of moving your characters around, that strategy RPG, whereas the original one is more in line with a standard RPG. It's just good to get it over there just to complete things, and it shouldn't be that much. I would just like to see them do something here for the current owners who bought in for Fractured But Whole, hoping that this would come over, since they technically probably pre-ordered it and then watched other systems get it for free. They also gave us a breakdown as to how the systems are doing in terms of how much of their revenue it's making up, as you're seeing here. And the PS4, 38%. That's actually down about 6%, which has a lot to do, I believe, with the PC and the Switch. Xbox One, same across the board, 22% from this same quarter last year. The PC, 24%, actually up 3% from last quarter. And the Nintendo Switch is actually up 4% from last year as well, up to 5%, with mobile, the Xbox 360 and PS3, Wii U kind of falling a bit, and then others all pretty much same across the board there. So yes, the Switch appears to be growing along with PC, with the PS4 actually dipping a bit. That's going to happen as the Switch, of course, continues to grow in its user base. That's going to happen. You're going to see a Switch start to kind of level out. Probably more so with the Xbox One than the PS4, but we'll see, I guess, as they go forward here and how the Switch continues to sell and what Ubisoft decides to actually deliver on that platform, considering a lot of their bigger stuff is going to other platforms, but not the Switch. That's also going to, of course, skew those percents. For overall revenue, they showed a sales total of $466.5 million for the period. What was interesting, though, is it appears that their back catalog is making, at this time, from that quarter, $387 million. Back catalog being things like Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor, and then other games. The next big release, of course, is coming up now with Assassin's Creed is coming out, and otherwise, they just launched The Crew 2, and then Far Cry 5 came out right around the time of the start of the quarter and everything. So it's at least rolling along for their back catalog, but it's not really being made from any of their newer stuff. So that's also very interesting to think about going forward with Ubisoft, but it looks like they're doing more with South Park, at least currently, with the new DLC that's coming up for Fractured But Whole, and then they're, of course, releasing Stick of Truth on the Switch now. Next up, let's talk a bit about Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3's been troubled. I don't think anyone's going to deny that. It's been an interesting ride so far for fans of this game that showed up back in 2014, looked really cool, but I don't think any of us would have thought that would have been pushed all the way to 2019 before it saw a release, and people have been constantly wondering what's going on in the background. Most of us have been theorizing that it has to do with the cloud technology, where they are doing calculations and stuff with servers to try to piece together how things like your terrain or environments will kind of just be destroyed and crumble in front of you. It does appear that that is the issue. That does seem to be what's causing all these delays. Eurogamer actually has several sources close to the matter that did report this, and then they also talked to a few other people who have been on the project before. Specifically, if you remember, Dave Jones was the creative director of a company, Reagent Games. That was announced at Gamescom 2015. He's no longer on the project, but Jones is saying the cloud is real and the destructible environments are also real, something other people have doubted. But it does look like that is the problem. The destructible environments, at least according to Eurogamer sources, is the issue. And it's not really surprising, I guess. If you really look around, that is the one outlier that seems weird and different and new. Everything else about that game seems pretty much like Crackdown, other Crackdown games that we've already played. So if you really look at it and say, okay, what's the one weird, different, probably difficult thing to design and program around? Yeah, it's probably the cloud stuff, and that makes sense. I'm just hoping it does release in February, but man, this is going to be an interesting release to follow. I think the most interesting release to follow at the time. I'm not saying it's going to be the best game with Anthem and others releasing around that time, but I think it's going to be the most interesting release to follow, just to see if it lives up to the hype and the cloud technology, which will probably be used going forward with other stuff, actually works the way it's supposed to. And our last bit of news, let's talk about Bowser Jr., specifically Mario Tennis Aces, a character that has annoyed myself, and I'm sure everyone else, unless you're using him. I usually use Waluigi or Yoshi, but whenever you run into Bowser Jr., and if you play the game a lot online, you know what I'm talking about, you start to roll your eyes immediately because you know what you're in for. Bowser Jr. has been probably the most overpowered character in that game since release, to the point where people have been considering having him banned outright from tournaments. His recovery is ridiculous, his range is ridiculous, his trick shots, everything about him is like perfect or top tier. But it looks like in the new update coming up, actually tomorrow for the game, exciting, Bowser Jr. is getting nerfed, and that is great. Here are the patch notes here, and you're actually going to see a number of different things, but if we focus in on for Bowser Jr. there, they're saying we have adjusted how fast Bowser Jr. can move when charging a shot, and lowered the angle at which he hits the ball back. They plan to adjust the balance of this particular character further in time for the August tournament because they cannot have him show up in the tournament the way he is now. It just will not work, or he just won't be able to be used. Now, they've also done things for all characters, specifically about that annoying trick shot that has been spammed beyond belief online. We have adjusted the range within which a character is able to return a ball, as well as how much energy is used when doing a trick shot to hit a ball that goes behind them. That has been a problem for a while, where people just spam trick shots back and forth. If the ball gets past you, it's fine. We're just going to trick shot it, come right back. That's been an issue. It looks like they're nerfing that as well. It's good to see that they're at least trying to play around with it and balance the game as best as they can now that everyone has their hands on it and they're all trying to play it. So hopefully, when I play the game again, this weekend or so, I won't be concerned about Bowser Jr., but I'll definitely be trying it out and trying to hopefully face against Bowser Jr., just to see if I can notice the differences. And guys, that's where we're going to leave it today for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, guys. It really helps out. Hit the dislike if not. Make sure you guys get subscribed for all gaming technology news. Do this every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for Newswaves. Hit the subscribe button right next to me now. And of course, let me know what you think about everything we talked about today, whether it's Bowser Jr. getting nerfed, the new No Man's Sky update, and then of course, Ubisoft continuing to release stuff for the Switch. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow morning again for Newswave.